The Association of Southeast Asian Nations is a regional intergovernmental organization that comprises 10 countries located in Southeast Asia. The ASEAN region is a rapidly developing part of the world, with a total GDP of around $3.1 trillion in 2021. The following is a list of ASEAN countries' GDPs for 2022. Number 1. Indonesia. Indonesia has the largest economy in Southeast Asia and is projected to have a GDP of $1.15 trillion in 2022. Its economy is driven by exports of natural resources, such as coal, palm oil, and rubber, as well as manufacturing and services sectors. Number 2. Thailand. Thailand is the second largest economy in ASEAN and is forecasted to have a GDP of $535 billion in 2022. The country's economy is heavily reliant on exports, particularly in the automotive, electronics, and agricultural sectors. Number 3. Malaysia. Malaysia is the third largest economy in ASEAN, with a projected GDP of $415 billion in 2022. Its economy is diversified, with major industries including manufacturing, services, and oil and gas. Number 4. Philippines. The Philippines is projected to have a GDP of $389 billion in 2022, making it the fourth largest economy in ASEAN. The country's economy is driven by services, manufacturing, and agriculture. Number 5. Vietnam. Vietnam is the fifth largest economy in ASEAN, with a projected GDP of $351 billion in 2022. The country has experienced rapid economic growth in recent years, driven by exports of electronics, textiles, and agricultural products. Number 6. Singapore. Singapore is a small island nation with a projected GDP of $349 billion in 2022. The country is a major financial center and is also home to a thriving technology sector. Number 7. Myanmar. Myanmar is projected to have a GDP of $102 billion in 2022, making it the seventh largest economy in ASEAN. The country's economy is heavily reliant on agriculture and natural resources, particularly oil and gas. Number 8. Cambodia. Cambodia is forecasted to have a GDP of $32 billion in 2022, making it one of the smallest economies in ASEAN. The country's economy is primarily driven by agriculture and tourism. Number 9. Laos. Laos is projected to have a GDP of $21 billion in 2022. The country's economy is heavily reliant on exports of natural resources, particularly hydropower and minerals. Number 10. Brunei. Brunei is the smallest economy in ASEAN, with a projected GDP of $12 billion in 2022. The country's economy is heavily reliant on exports of oil and gas. Conclusion. In conclusion, the ASEAN region is a rapidly growing part of the world, with a combined GDP of over $3.5 trillion in 2022. The region is home to a diverse range of economies, from large and diversified economies like Indonesia and Malaysia to small and resource-dependent economies like Brunei and Laos. Despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, ASEAN economies are expected to continue growing in the coming years, driven by factors such as increased regional integration, technological advancements, and rising consumer demand. See you in another video. Thank you.